What is up, everyone? I'm Robert Mraz,
And I'm Fina Mraz.
and this is CV Hustle, the podcast dedicated to supporting and promoting entrepreneurship here in our Coachella Valley. And it's our goal on this show, guys, to bring in the top entrepreneurs here in the Valley. And today we've got a real two special guests, actually. And, we've talked to doctors, we've talked to lawyers, but we've never really hit the retail side. So today we're going to kind of speak to some entrepreneurs that are at the top of the game on the retail side. Ladies, you guys know who this product is. Today's special guest is the Body Deli with Ashley Skarin and Margaret Clark. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks for having us.
We're excited to be here.
Awesome.
So I want to tell everybody how we all met. So I was renting a tile showroom, and your mom came out, and you were just so nice to me. Like, yeah, you can park here, not a problem. And I was like running my forklift and everything right in front of their place. Bruce would yell at me every once in a while, but other than that, he's harmless. He was super nice. But I don't know a lot about your backstory. And I want to get to you, obviously. But where did you grow up? How did you get to California? Are you a native here? Tell me your story.
I've been in the Coachella Valley for 65 years.
Oh, wow. You're a native.
I am.
Oh, you're loco.
I'm born and raised
Born
here.
and raised, wow.
And
okay.
I lived in Indian Wells before it was called Indian Wells.
What? It was called something else?
It was just like
just a pass through?
Like county.
Like Bermuda Dunes, unincorporated.
Yeah, unincorporated. And then it just slowly turned into Indian Wells and became its own city.
What high school did you go to?
Indio.
Ooh,
at that time,
Raja.
Yeah, at that
Raja's
time it
in
was
the
only
house.
Palm Springs and Indio.
And CV.
And CV, yeah, but we're a little bit too far from them.
Yeah, that's true.
We were the closest to Indio.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Oh my God.
I'm a Raja too. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Stinky Raja. Well, anyway, let's move on from that.
I used to ride up and down Fairway and Highway 111, and you wouldn't see a car on our bikes. We'd ride our bikes.
Yeah.
And I used to have a Schwinn bike with a big basket on it. And I was always making something. I mean, even from a child,
I love it.
I was just naturally an entrepreneur. I set up my first stand and was selling grapefruit. I was a rock hound. I'd find crystals and rocks and selling rocks. And this was like at 8 years old. They got pictures of me out there, with lemonade, grapefruit, rocks, whatever I could sell. I was already doing it as a child.
Oh my gosh,
Just
I
was
love it.
born and raised to do it, I guess.
Was there anybody like in your family that was an entrepreneur? Or did you have some sort of mentor that you modeled, or how did that all work?
Not really. My family's in construction. And my dad did a lot of the high-end homes here in the valley.
Really?
And so I just grew up in the construction industry, basically.
But definitely with a lot of people that were doers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of
everybody's
hard
hard
workers.
Everybody had a
Everybody
work
hard-
ethic.
Yes.
A very
for sure.
strong work ethic,
sure.
exactly. Yeah.
So then after high school, then what happens? Like, did you go to college, or did you just immediately went into the workforce? Or how did that all?
Well, I graduated, or had enough credits in high school to graduate a year early. And then they, at that time, had ROP programs, and I got my beauty license in the 12th grade. So instead of going to 12th grade school, I went to the beauty school. And you had to do 1,600 hours, which just takes a whole year to get your cosmetology license. And I love the cosmetology industry because it was so creative. I'm very creative and love to be making things. And
Sure.
and I loved at that time, back in the days when you had a doctor, your family doctor did everything. Like if you had an earache, he'd look at your ear, or if you have a toe ache, whatever, right? Now you have to go to a specialist. You have to go to the ear doctor and the toe doctor and all the different things, right?
Such a pain in the ass, yeah.
Well, that's how it was in cosmetology when we were, back in 1978. You had to do everything. You had to do the facials, the manicures, the
you did it all.
perms, the colors, eyebrows. You had to do everything. You were like the doctor that did everything.
Kind of good though, right? Because it
You
probably
know how to
taught you
do
a lot,
everything. That's why it
yeah.
took a whole year to learn everything, for sure. So, but what happened is my hands were in all those chemicals with the perm solution and the dyes.
That's true.
And they'd say, well, why didn't you wear gloves? Well, the problem is when you try to wash somebody's hair with those latex gloves, they they stick in the hair, and they pull the hair,
And you're like,
and the people they're not happy about it.
sure.
And plus, you can't really just get in there and do a nice massage and scrub the scalp
Yeah.
with the gloves on. But I eventually became allergic to the latex, and then couldn't wear the gloves, and then I had just severe allergies to all the chemicals.
Chemicals, yeah.
And became I couldn't use my hands actually for about 6 months. They were clawed up like claws, and they looked like I had dipped them in acid. They were just like the skin was off, and I was on cortisone shots and cortisone cream, and every time I tried to put the cream on, it would literally make me sick because of the pain, like a burn victim. It was so intense. And so it was my grandma that said, well, we used to make udder balm, for the cows. Maybe you could put some kind of healing balm on your hands. And then I went to the library and got books, and we didn't have the internet back then. You had to really go and do your own research at that time.
Encyclopedia. I said Encyclopedia Britannica the other day. Everybody was like, what?
I had the set.
There's no
I was
Google?
so
What, you
excited to
can't
have
Google
it.
So you had to do real research with real books. And I just loved it right away. But I love cooking, and I was just like, oh, this is like making mayonnaise. Or
So you
this
like
is like
mixing stuff.
Oh,
You're
I
like a
love
mixologist. You might
mixing.
be a bartender, right?
Or making great sauces and dressings. And
Yeah.
she's great for her sauces, so she knows how to mix things well.
I love doing
Emulsion
that.
specialist.
So then you started making the udder butter?
Salves.
Okay.
And I put those on my hands, and I immediately felt so good. And I finally got the use of my hands back. And the doctor just said, you're just going to have to get out of the industry or lose the use of your hands. It was bad. So I had to get out of that industry, unfortunately. And I went to, at that time I had gotten married to Ashley's father. And we had a landscape construction company, and we had a sod farm. And so I was, again, just loving landscape design. Again, I could design
it's
something.
creative.
Yeah. And so I had a blast. And we had some really great clients that had a lot of money every time I'd go to some place. And what's your budget, And I mean, we did a lot of things like in Coachella where you have an $800 budget, and you have to only put in 3 valves for irrigation, and 5 little bushes and 2 trees, and a little bit of grass seed, and you have a really restricted budget. But when you go into a project that's, like Vintage Country Club or Eldorado Country Club, and they don't have a budget, I'm like, what do you mean there's no budget? There's no budget. Do whatever you want. I'm like, yes, it's like Disneyland. Bring in the semis, the cranes, the big giant trees.
That's like Trina.
I would have a blast.
Both of these two have great creative minds, so
absolutely.
they're like, okay, I'll show you the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen the tile. It's like,
Get that top shelf going.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
So I really love that. And then I did that for 20 years. And then I just got tired, basically, of being outside with 20 Hispanic men.
And the heat.
And the heat.
Ugh,
yeah.
I couldn't do it.
And I was still making my own lotions and soaps and creams and things.
Oh, so you were still doing that?
Yeah.
Oh.
In the
then
kitchen.
In
I
the
was gonna
kitchen.
say where?
She
Okay.
would make her own lotion and fill it in bottles, and it started to take over the kitchen space, actually. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was all the way down the hall to the front door, and I got a 40-foot hall and a huge kitchen. And one year I made baskets for Christmas, and I just used kind of like canning jars, like if you're going to get some
Yeah.
homemade jelly, but I'd fancy them up and put ribbons and little stones and make them look really
cute. Yeah.
Yeah, cute.
Christmas.
And I gave a basket to this lady that lived way out in PJ West. And let me back this up. I gave it to a friend that had a friend that lived in PJ West. I didn't know the lady, but she had super bad skin issues and was very wealthy and had gone to many places to try to fix her skin, and
Right.
she wasn't having any luck. And her friend said, "Why don't you try some of this lotion and this salve and just see if it works for you?" And so she gave it her part of her basket to this lady, and the lady says, "Oh my gosh, it's the first thing I've ever used. It's helped." And then she called me up and introduced herself, and said that she wanted me to make her 50 baskets for Christmas. And I started laughing to go, 50 baskets? I go, I'm just making this in my blender and putting it in mayonnaise jars. You know?
Wow, that's a step up. 50 of those, right?
I'm not making this to, move or sell or anything. And she goes, "Oh, everybody in town has to have it." And so we went to like Pier 1 Imports and that other place called World Market.
Yep.
And got little jars and little things, fancier things,
So you said yes.
I said yes, yeah.
I knew it. She's so like open-minded. She's always been like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Let's do it.
Right.
And so I made 50 baskets for her, and then I just started going to like little places, like the churches would have what they call fall.
Or Christmas show where they had the booths. And
They had the booths and the fall season, and they'd have Easter seasons, and the schools would have it. So I just set up little tables and booths there, and it just kind of snowballed. And then I got this old house in Indio that used to be Al Capone's attorney's house.
Oh my God.
Really? Where's that at?
Well, it's torn down
Okay, I
now,
was gonna say,
but
that's like a
next to
historic-
Gertrude's Draperies, if anyone. On
back in the so
Madison?
do you know where Neil's Lounge is?
Yes.
Yeah.
So behind it, so you'd go down 111 in Indio, and you'd make a left at Madison Street. And
the
there's
Young's
Stater
Nursery
Brothers.
right there.
No, it's by Stater Brothers.
Yes, across from Stater Brothers.
in
Now
the
it's a dirt
front
lot, I
is-
think.
In
But
front
before it
is,
had an
exactly
old
what
set of
you're
Neil's, and then
buildings.
there's a gas station.
Yeah.
And then Stater Brothers is across the street. That street right there's Madison. So you'd make a left on Madison, coming from Palm Desert, going to Indio. And then right behind that Circle K, you'd turn in right there. And that was a huge, huge estate. And it had tennis gardens. It had this beautiful, beautiful
ago.
pool.
Right.
And it had like a pool house. And what they had done is all the rooms in the house were really big. And they had divided it up and rented areas out. And
After
so
it was no longer a home and the pool was emptied,
Yeah,
they
and it
kind of
was there.
divided it up into little retail spots that you could rent.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And there was a lady there, like got the first part of it, maybe where the kitchen and dining room and that kind of stuff was. She was selling plants, and then the middle part was Gertrude's Draperies, and he was making homemade drapery for everybody. And then the last part was Blue Lotus, which I would used to be Blue Lotus Organics. And I had the bedroom and the master. It was kind of like a garden room where they call it a sunroom.
Oh, yeah.
And we also had
It actually had beautiful lighting, a lot of windows, and so it had beautiful light where she could make all of her products. And a huge bathroom, the master bathroom, with this huge tiled tub.
yes.
Oh my gosh.
It was pretty funny.
The tub was bigger than this area that we're sitting at.
Yes, it was huge.
And it was all these little
Art
tiles,
Deco
Art
tile.
Deco tiles, black and burgundy tiles, even in the window seals.
Oh my gosh.
The entire ceiling, everything was done in black
beautifully.
Wow.
and burgundy
So you
deco
would have
tiles.
liked the
I would have liked it,
tile.
huh?
Yeah, you would have said,
And
wow, this is...
it was in great condition too. The bathroom.
So, okay.
What year,
made
what
a-
year is this?
she
I'm
made a
curious
water
about what
feature in
year is this like? What roundabouts years are these?
That's probably in
Late 90s.
late 90s.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, around 98 maybe.
I want to go back because I'm nosy. I want to know, how did you know how to sell those, what to sell those baskets for? I'm assuming, right, you had to figure out what your costs were and stuff like that. So you sold them, right? And I hope you made a killing on
I
those
just
50
looked up
baskets.
Gucci.
There was no looking up. No,
There was no
she
looking
just
up.
added up. She just added up her receipts, and
then-
came up with a fair price, probably.
Cool.
I just did kind of like fair market, what everybody else was selling things for, basically,
She's always priced things very fairly.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, and always, looking at the facts, like what are the cost of things and things like that. So she's always been very fair priced, I believe.
Okay. You have any questions?
I'm still thinking about that Al Capone
So
lawyer's
in-
Well,
house.
supposedly he would get
that's
in
awesome.
that bathtub.
I bet he did.
Because it had seating all the way around the edges.
I mean, I'm an Indio native, and I didn't even never heard of that before. That's freaking awesome.
and
I'm
you know,
gonna have to-
the other side where there's that tire Pep Boys and tire
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
Have you ever seen that manufacturing that's old building that's set behind it?
yeah.
Okay, they used to make all the fruit cakes. So they dry all the fruit with the dates, and they dried all the different kinds of fruits like peaches and apricots and everything that goes into the fruit cakes. And they actually had the contract back in the war times. Like, I don't know if it was World War I or World War II. I don't have that information, but I know that they were making the rations for the war, for the soldiers.
Oh wow.
And because those fruitcakes would last a long time. So they would get like jerky and these fruit cakes that were dehydrated.
Okay.
You know, it was a cake, but it had the dehydrated fruit in it.
Right.
And so when they came back from war, they didn't want anything to do with those.
The sales immediately tanked after the war.
Right.
But that's some.
But the
really
valley
good
has
history,
had a
man.
lot of different
Wow.
things going on that people didn't even realize
Absolutely.
that was
is
going on
awesome.
back there in that little area.
Wow. I mean, she's history lesson right here.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Only on CV Hustle you get this insight.
All right, so let's go from you had the retail store in Indio, and you started. It obviously started snowballing, right? Like, as you said, and then what happened? How did you name it the Body Deli? No, you named it Blue.
Now enter David.
David here.
Yes, enter David.
Yeah, so David, my business partner now is David Parker, and he came into the shop. So I used to be on the Patty Patane show. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I have, but I can't like place
This
it
is
right now. But
this is the old time,
Patane.
and kind of like what you're doing right here.
Yeah.
You know?
Local business entrepreneurs.
Oh,
She was
really?
interviewing.
And she was so funny because I would be making things and I'd say, well, you know, it's all edible. And she was so kind of like a
Animated.
force to be reckoned with, you know, this energy.
Yeah.
And so I'm making this stuff and she goes, it's edible, huh? And she takes the spoon and she pushes it down into this big thing of cream I'm making and she goes, eat it! And I'm like, okay. But calm down. So I take a little bite of it, and then I made the comment like when Lucille Ball has taking that Vegemint, and it's delicious too. And she goes, "Stop doing that." And she got all mad about it, but it was funny. Anyway,
I'm
so
sure it was good.
the products like the enzyme peel, it's the Manuka honey enzyme peel. That's a complete food. If you were starving to death and you didn't have any food, you could eat that. It's delicious on toast. You
I
have all
wouldn't
this-
even know where to find that.
at the Body Deli.
Right?
Yes.
Hello.
But basically, she was focusing more on body care at this time. She hadn't moved on to facial care. And David saw her
Yeah.
on TV and that she was making these products from using healthy stuff, taking it back to natural, you know, and using things you eat, this whole concept. And he drove down to find her because he wanted to make facial care products like that.
And he had gone to LA and he couldn't find anybody that would do that.
And
They
she
all would
was-
be chemicals.
Yes, and she
And he's
was
like,
doing
"I don't
this,
want
this
that. I want
lady-
something natural."
Yeah, and so they came together, and two total different people, and they just both had this love and this vision for making products, food for your skin, basically, and that's
Right.
one of our taglines. That's how the Body Deli kind of came about. They
Fresh
came
food for
together
your
and said,
skin.
"Hey, let's evolve this, you know, to face and body." And that was the birth of the Body Deli, food for your skin.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
And taking that kind of that basis of using products you normally would cook with or eat, you know, taking that clean concept. So a lot of
love
healthy
that.
formulations, the scents, pure essential oils, plant-based, things like that.
So, like, what was your when you started this? And it was only body at the time. What were some of your staple products?
We had a really nice salt scrub. that was with the cocoa butter, so it was really creamy.
You know, I love me some cocoa butter.
Yeah.
Love it.
And lotion,
Definitely the
oil,
lotion.
and bars of soap.
Okay.
Yeah. That was pretty limited, actually. I mean, now we have so many products, a lot of products.
Right. Because you just keep adding, right? Because there's always like a new like scent, or there's a new whatever. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
because you guys were kind of like organic before organic was like a thing.
Yeah.
It's so true, because when we went to go try to find somebody to help us make these things, they were all like, "Well, what? You know, we only have to know how to do these companies that makes
laboratories
the
that
big
make
labs,
products. If you want something made
the
for
manufacturers."
you know, you go to a formulation that's already been made. They're so chemical laden,
Of course.
so they had to just make it themselves.
We couldn't find anybody that would help us, so we just started making it ourselves.
Wow.
I mean, I was already making it myself, so I didn't care.
Right,
I
so it's no big deal to
I just
you.
had to
More.
expand it. Yeah.
Bought more blenders.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically.
Bring in the Hobart.
Wow.
For real.
And we just set it up a cosmetic kitchen, basically. We just are just like a restaurant where we have big mixers and blenders and all kinds of, just looks like a kitchen.
At the place where we met.
Yeah.
Oh, that little place behind you, old office. Yeah. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. So David came in, and how did that change the business? Did it kind of explode from there, like to what we know now, or how long did it kind of take you guys to become the juggernaut that we are
Well, we
today?
relocated to Palm Desert, and you know, David helped. I went to we knew that we wanted to change the name, because at that time we were thinking about franchising, and there was a lot of Blue Lotus Chinese restaurants in Los Angeles, and so although it's a different industry, there was still consumer confusion.
Right.
And so we said, we're going to have to think of something else. And I went to one of my girlfriend's house, and she lives in San Diego, and we hung out, and we got a bottle of wine, and we ate pizza, and we just kept brainstorming and all these different names. And the Body Deli, I kind of narrowed it down to 3 names. It was like the Body Bistro, the Body Deli, all these different, a couple other names.
Yeah.
And then I came back with the names with David, and then David's so artistic, and he was great with the computer to make labels and branding. He's like
Branding genius.
he is a branding genius. He is fabulous, and he would take the different names that came with, you know, to talk to him about, and he would get on the computer, and he was like, well, this one's having trouble with this one, you know, and he would keep messing with it, and he'd come in, and I have like a perfectionist eye to, I don't know what you call it, to a fault. It's like,
Oh yeah,
it's too much. I'm like
It's a
perfectionist.
blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Right?
It is, and so I can see when something's off, and I'll say, that needs to move over just a hair. Okay, no, it's perfect. And so, but he never complained about moving anything over in hair. He'd just go and move it.
He wants
and
it to be perfect.
He wants
too.
it to be perfect too. So,
So how old were you at this time when this started going down?
I first met David probably when I was about, I want to say 10 years old or so. So he's
baby.
been in my life since then.
Yeah.
And he definitely made a big impact, because I had never met someone like him before. It was like someone coming from out of town, you know, like I don't know how to explain it, but an out of towner, like, who's this guy, you know? So, and they're both my mentors, my mom and David, and they both have such unique
Aspects.
and I get the benefit of seeing how they both work and learning from them, and just following their lead and picking it up.
So you basically grew
I've grown up. Yeah, I was
like
in-
seeing your mom do this, and
in
then
Blue Lotus, I was
learning.
there helping her mix those salt scrubs and the lotions in the kitchen before Blue Lotus.
Yeah,
I've
she
been
was
her little sidekick, and I have a younger sister. So when she came into the mix, she was there too, and she's
we used to take a
works in the
salad
business
shooter.
as
Do you
well.
remember the old commercial,
I
salad
do.
shooter? And they put stuff in there. Well, I was putting soap in there and shredding the soap, and then soaking it in water, and then making balls with it, soap balls.
the leftover soap when you cut bars.
Yeah,
you have
'cause
some
it's-
extra pieces. So we would put that in the salad shooter, and then those little shreds make soap balls.
Oh,
and so us
perfect.
kids, that was kind of
I
our
had pictures of them, you know, like
That was
Anna
their job.
Yeah.
Anna's only 2 years old, And here she is, a little tiny 2-year-old making a soap ball.
That's awesome. And nothing went to waste.
No. No, sounds like it was a family affair. Huh?
Definitely, yeah.
So
We've
did you
grown up in the business.
grew up in the business? Was that like always the plan to come in and kind of step in and be the heir apparent? Was that something that you were just born into it? You're gonna continue the legacy, or is that something that kind of?
I think it just happened naturally, and I have a love for it, like a passion for it. I don't have any children, so this is kind of like my baby as well.
baby,
So
sure.
it's got a couple mothers.
Right. Yeah.
It's got a couple mothers. So yes, I guess because I've just grown up with it, it's just kind of like an energy that's part of my family. Like when I come into the shop, I say, "Good morning, Body Deli. I love you." When I leave, you know.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, you're putting
I
that
pop
out there.
Yeah, I go
I'm-
in
yeah.
when it's like not my day. I go in the morning sometimes 6 a.m. like I was there this morning. I love it. Yeah, it's like my baby.
No, I can
awesome.
tell
And
that
sometimes before we leave it at night, we have some sage. And I don't necessarily light it, but I take it and I go, protection, protection.
No wonder you two get along.
Oh yeah, we do all that weird stuff.
Tina sages everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is that smell in the house?
I'm
Oh,
like nothing. But okay, so tell me, when did the first Body Deli is the one on 111?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you know what their floor is?
Yeah.
yeah.
Black and white.
Shameless plug right here.
At El Paseo.
Oh, at El Paseo
Yeah.
one. Okay,
El
okay.
Paseo.
You need to change the other one then. No.
Oh, for
No.
sure.
No, definitely Fina, for sure. But you know, bringing back to the history aspect, the floor that's at Highway 111 store, it's over 23 years old now, 24 years old that we've been there. That floor, David and her hand painted.
We hand
So it was
painted.
just like a
Wow.
raw cement floor, really rugged.
Oh.
They couldn't afford tile flooring at the time, so they hand painted a square pattern on there. It's still there to this day. We polish it and keep it as beautifully as we can.
Oh,
It certainly needs
that's
new tiles, but it's
awesome.
also kind of nostalgic.
Yeah, you can't do
Yeah,
that.
you can't.
I couldn't sell you tile for
It's
that.
part,
No.
it's part of the history, you know, and I remember them like literally hands and knees,
Oh my
you know, faux painting this thing.
Yeah.
So
We'll go up the walls.
Back then, everything was like real popular to faux paint. I don't know if
Yes.
you remember that. Sponging colors on and everything.
That's fun.
But
Yeah.
El Paseo, she definitely had to go for the flooring upgrade.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
So okay, so then you got that space, and then like where are you finding your clients, and what are you doing for advertising and marketing and all that? I mean, you said David did that, so how did
Well,
you get your name out there?
originally, other than being on Patty Patain, didn't really
Word of
have a
mouth.
lot of.
Word of mouth.
And
Didn't
creating
have-
an email list, an email sign up list. When people would come in, do you want to sign up to our email list?
You
And
guys
that
are early adopters to that.
email that's one of our strongest
Okay.
sales channels, I would say.
And you were doing that early on then, huh?
Yeah.
But you don't do it too often, though, right?
Well, we do a couple emails a week at least.
Oh, okay, okay.
And it's that whole thing like that drip marketing, right? It's like just be on top of mind when they need it, and they run
Yes.
out, or they're thinking about skincare. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
I just got to
I mean,
email from Body Deli.
it didn't used to be that way, but it's evolved to that.
Yes, and yeah, it's evolved to that.
Okay, so I have another question because I have another location in Palm Springs, but you have another location on the next block. So why did you do that? And was it? I think it's cool because I feel like you're obviously serving two different markets, and I think but I want to hear from you why you did that.
You want me to go?
Okay.
Yes, serving two different markets. So our Highway 111 location, the original, it's so great for locals. The parking is so convenient. You can just pull right in there, get your skincare, get your healthy dog treats at Bones and Scones. You know, it's really accessible. But a lot of times when someone comes on vacation, they're not from here. The hotel concierge says, go to El Paseo. Go to El Paseo.
That's true.
So we're trying to cover both of our bases here. We've got our local spot. If you can't find parking at El Paseo, you don't want to do the walk, you can just pull right up and come into the local shop 111 and get your stuff easy. Or if you want to have a leisurely day, take your family shopping, someone's coming into town, you want to give them the El Paseo, you know, walking
Tour,
around
yeah.
experience, we're there too.
Oh my gosh.
And the spot that we have, which she's had her eye on wanting a spot there for a long time, and when the opportunity came,
I
she
did. I looked at that
you know.
spot for probably at least 10 years. So it's kind of like you're creating that reality.
Oh, for sure.
I kept seeing myself there and seeing myself there, and the same lady was there. and then they just
Once you
they
retire.
stayed there until they retired.
I was say, you're gonna go in there. You leaving anytime soon?
And then she contacted me and said that she was leaving, and would I be interested in taking over her lease? And I'm like, yes, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's right across from Tiffany's and Louis Vuitton and Gucci, so it's
God, great location.
great location.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, that's so cool.
and that's what we call that our fancy store, because we have like 111 store, we call that one our hippie store, because it's just
Right
like
next to
real-
Lorraine's.
Like brown hound painted floor and
Yeah.
orange walls. It's kind of more eclectic. And then you go to El Paseo and it's got the black and white marble tile floor. So you've got two different vibes. And the deli case is more of a deli vibe, white
Yeah,
and black.
They have an actual deli
Deli case.
with deli
Yeah.
case. It's
That's
so cool.
awesome.
Fresh
I can kind
face
of see.
masks
I can
and
see. I
skincare.
can kind of see like the breakup of your clientele base by just the way you're explaining it, though, right? Locals go to your original OG shop.
Yeah.
Then you're trying to lure the tourists
Yeah.
through El Paseo. So does that lead to like? So now that we're in the age of kind of online and Amazon, are you guys? You have a presence online as well? Is that like kind of the next step for the?
we
you guys-
have the most beautiful website on the internet.
Really?
I would go on anybody's competition and say that mostly Ashley and David, my business partner, David Parker, built the website. And it's absolutely gorgeous. And it would compete with anybody out there. If you go on that website, it's fabulous. It's
Right.
really beautiful.
Yeah, it almost eliminates like the need to expand to different stores with the internet, right? Because you guys can sell all over the country at that point.
And through
right?
COVID, that really impacted retail. You know, you had to
Right,
really
absolutely
rely on online. So we kind of said, well, online we can reach a lot of people
Oh yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
And then the people that are down here just like tourism, and they come to El Paseo and they get their things, they still have a piece of us when they go back home they can come in with the internet and order and restock themselves.
They learn about us. Like, let's say they're walking on El Paseo, they learn about us there. And then they get to take a few, maybe small things home, and then they reorder online.
And we have really been blessed with customers that have been with us for years. We go in the back and you can see how many times they've ordered. And they have ordered sometimes hundreds of times.
Yeah, the
When you
customer
think about
loyalty
what
is
kind of
so great.
product that you personally have ordered,
We love our customers. We develop relationships.
Friendships, yeah,
friendships,
sure.
and
they just keep
We've-
ordering and
yeah, many
ordering.
years.
We're
We're
very
grateful.
blessed. We're very grateful with that.
Yeah, that's pretty rare in retail these days. You guys knowing your customers the way you do, because a lot of times retail is just a click on the phone, to
We
get
still do
product
phone
out.
help too. So we have a lot of customers that like to place their order on the phone.
Oh,
and
wow.
That's one thing is I get frustrated when I want to buy something and I can't talk to customer service. You have to email them.
Yeah.
And then they still don't, there's still nobody to talk to. It's just back and forth and it's some kind of generic response. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well,
It's a stall tactic kind of
well,
thing.
that's why his business has thrived, because you call like Paychex or one of the other big box stores and you just get like
Get a call center in India. They're outsourcing everything. So our strength is just you get somebody on the phone and you'll get your account rep on the phone.
person actually
that
doing your
actually
payroll.
somebody that knows something about your account. So that's where we win. That's where we beat the big guys. I mean, we're not going to beat them all the time.
Yeah.
But we can beat them there. So if that's something that's important to the clients, then that's where we win.
And I think that's true with us too,
yeah.
because they can't get that from the big brands.
No, absolutely not.
We like to build relationships. They come in and, a lot of times we know about their family and what's going on in their lives, and we love building that relationship with them.
Awesome.
Well, it seems like you got. I mean, I think the story here though too is the product, right? I mean, the product stands alone. I think that's like the core of the business, right? Is that you have an excellent product, and you guys have figured out how to kind of build an empire on that product. Because a lot of times there'll be people. We hear stories all the time of people that are good at things, like maybe like good at doing, making cookies or something like that. But how do you turn that into a business? And I think you guys kind of mastered that and turning it into a great product, but it's also a thriving business.
Yeah.
That's not the easiest thing to do.
Well, I think it's really taken a huge amount of effort on everybody's part. I mean, everybody that works at the Body Deli I call it our Body Deli family, and they don't work for us; they work with us. We all work together.
Yeah.
Everybody, we're so blessed because everybody's such hard workers, and very professional and stay focused on their job and taking care of things. And I think that's not going through the employees. We have an employee that's worked for us for 30 years. Another
Wow,
one for
30 years.
another one for 18, another one for 15, another one for 12. So we don't really go through the employees. We take care of them. They're part of our family.
Well, it speaks to you as a business and a business owner and how well you treat them. And yeah, that's awesome because, man, building a business like you have, just like consistency is key. I think, it's so, and reputation and all of that goes into it. So,
Yeah.
And making products that it feels good to be a part of.
sure. I have a question. So, like, do you have a bestseller? Because I'm in. I just always think about
Yes.
stuff like that. Do you have or a couple bestsellers?
We brought you a couple.
Okay. Well, I have that
Let's
one
get
on my
into
desk.
it. Yeah, so those of you on YouTube, you can see the products on the table here. For those of you listening on the podcast, you need to watch it on YouTube. So,
Yeah,
but we'll try and be as descriptive as possible.
Our Vital
right?
C serum. Can you reach a Vital C serum
Is
in
it
front
this
of the
one?
magazine? It's in front
No,
of
it's
the
a
book.
small little
there.
one.
Yes. Okay, so this is a superstar product. It's our Vital C Repair Serum. It has a special form of vitamin C called Ribosome C. It's an encapsulated form of vitamin C. It's an expensive form of vitamin C, so there's hardly any formulations that use it because
There's only 2 people in the United States.
that
2
we know
companies.
about, and it's especially imported from Germany. Anyway, this type of vitamin C, it's encapsulated, so that means it stays stable in the formula, and it opens up once it hits your skin barrier, and it helps with helping repair free radical damage, like sunspots and things of
Large pores.
things like that, and it also helps stimulate collagen. So smoothing the skin, giving that bounce and elasticity to it, and sunspot control is really the big winner down here in the desert. I know just being out and active, we get a lot of sun damage. So that I would say is a really
zero.
I love that one. What's your? That's my. I would say
I would say
Creme de la Rose is probably her, or maybe
I
something
like
else.
creme de la rose, and I also like mixing that with a light facial emulsion.
Oh yes, her
Because
facial
of-
cocktail. That's what
Yeah.
she calls it.
So
Because
did you?
it's made with all the ionic minerals. So when you put these vitamins mixed with the minerals, your skin just sucks it up and it gets everything it needs. And
So
I
do
love
you?
that.
Do you guys sell to people that do facials?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because
We
they're
have a whole
obviously
wholesale
right?
division.
yeah,
That services spas and medical centers, estheticians, massage
awesome.
therapists. Yeah.
Because so Bob, tell them about your sister, because that would be. I think that would be kind of.
Oh, the sister's what's it?
Naturopathic.
Oh, of
yeah,
course,
doctor.
definitely.
She's
Arizona,
all
though.
Yeah.
Organic. So
Yes,
that's
we
her
love
main
working
thing.
with.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely touch base and show you guys some of your products. I mean, these products have been tried and true, right? I mean, you guys.
Yes, and they're all made
organic,
here in the
right?
valley.
I love that.
So it's
Really, they're all made
yeah,
here in the
we-
valley.
yes.
Remember,
Well, I
you're
know, but I think
made here. He's
like literally.
every product is
literally
made
all
in
of
the
this
valley.
has been made here. So it's
Wow,
pretty
I
cool
mean-
to actually,
Wow, Donald
buy
Trump's gonna
stuff.
love that. You know,
I don't know
USA
about that,
all the
but
way, man.
just local anybody who wants to support their local community.
That's awesome.
It's nice to
I
buy
did
things
not
made
know
local.
that's something that more valuable information here. These are tried and true. So people are manufacturing these in the valley, and then you're selling them in the valley.
Yeah.
So you're creating jobs
Probably
on both
everywhere.
ends. That's great.
Okay, I have another funny question. So if I walked into your place, like, do you guys go, "Oh, your face is jacked up. You need this"? Or you know what I mean?
Can you
No.
diagnose somebody's ugly face?
no, we don't say it to your face, but we turn like this. We
make
turn
sure
like
we do
this,
it
and we
behind
say
you.
like, she needs some
No,
vitamin C
stop
serum
it.
bad.
No, but I mean, do you go? Because
We
like, if,
analyze you,
Okay.
without letting you know that we're analyzing you. But we study your skin, and
If you ask for a consult, first of all, we offer free samples. So with a consultation. So we like to say if you're looking for skincare, before just like selling you some expensive lineup that you don't know what's going to work, we like to first say, what do you need? What are your concerns?
See, I'd
And
say I
then-
don't know what I need.
Okay, well, we can talk about it,
Okay.
and we can send you with some samples that you would test out and see. Like, we have 5 different facial cleansers. Let's make sure we get the right one for you. Are you feeling dry? Are you feeling sensitive? Do you have redness and rosacea? Do you need some exfoliation? So we need to,
You're oily and acne.
we need to
all these
talk
different things.
before we just shove some products to you. We want to talk about it, and that's also, I think, why we have a lot of longtime customers, because
We discussed
the
that.
first time they come in, we're not trying to sell them. Sometimes I'm giving them free samples. They're like, "Do I need to pay you for these?" I'm like, no, just test them out first, and then
Right.
what you resonate with, what your skin loves, you're going to come back to us. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Ah,
And the other thing is that I would rather them test things out than, or even buy a smaller one, because we hand make this. So it's kind of like me hand making an apple pie, and then because you have a 30-day return policy at the Body Deli. So if I made you a homemade apple pie and then you took one bite of it and then you came back and said, I don't like it. Well, I have to throw that apple pie in the trash because you've taken a bite out of it, right? And that's what happens with the products. And so
returns
I'm
can
more,
really hurt a small business.
upsets me because I handmade that, and now you want me to throw it in the trash. So to me, it's like personal.
so then
So
don't
I would
do
rather-
returns.
Well,
Well, no,
why-
I want them to be happy and to zero it in, but that's just why we do the sampling.
We'd rather also for the environment. Like, for example, instead of, if you don't know about the smell of this lotion, I'd rather let you smell it first, make you a small amount, or try it out, smell it first,
Right.
then try to force you to buy this, and then you pump one out, you don't like
hate
it.
it.
All this has to go in the trash can, and it's so bad for the environment. And unfortunately, we're kind of used to the Amazon stuff where it's just like order, and if I don't like it, I don't even think about where it goes.
Sure.
Well, all of that stuff is going somewhere. And we're getting a little bit too comfortable as a society, just like throwing things away and ordering things. So one way we're trying to help our business, but also be
Environment.
environmentally conscious, is let's let you test something out small. Make sure you really like it before you invest in a big bottle like this, so that we don't have to be throwing something away unnecessarily.
Right.
So
Oh, wow. I didn't know you had to throw things away. Give them to me. Or, you
Well,
know, why don't you
skincare,
guys
no
just
one-
do
The thing is that
50%?
you don't-
Like, okay, if you,
no,
you know,
you,
you
don't
get
want a
50%
skincare
back.
product that
You
somebody
don't know
returned.
Yeah, because we don't
can't
know
do
what they
that.
did to it.
Why not?
No.
Can't
We-
vouch
you-
for the.
I'll test it out first.
Can't vouch that it's organic anymore.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Can't do that.
Touched by a human.
It's not pure. It's not pure. Well, this is all really good for information. Seems like you guys also have kind of a ethos about the environment, which kind of goes hand in hand with your product. So that's really cool. We always like to ask our entrepreneurs, what advice they would give to somebody. Like maybe they have a good product, but don't really know how to start a business. What if they wanted to kind of maybe get into the retail business? What advice would you kind of give somebody else?
I have run across people who have made business names for themselves, and they have made cards up and signs and everything, and they never did the research to see if somebody else owned the trademark, if somebody else owned a corporation, owned something, or already has a website, because now you're in violation of that.
Yeah.
And you have to take all that down because you can get in a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't also add your name to somebody else's name, like Robert's McDonald's,
Yeah.
Right.
or Robert's Big Boys, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You just can't put your name in front of somebody else's name. So you really need to do, first of all, find out, is it trademarked? Is there a corporation? Is there somebody else already using that name on the internet? Is there a website available? These are all things that you need to make sure, because how are you going to move forward if you can't even move forward with your own name?
Yeah.
That's true.
You
That's
know,
the first step.
That's the
And
first
that's the first step. And people don't realize that. They really don't. They're completely missing that piece of pie, that wedge.
Yeah.
We had
Advice.
that happen with one of our guests who was going after a restaurant, and the restaurant was like all the way in Florida
Atlanta.
or something.
Yeah, it was
Atlanta. And he was gonna get sued, and so he ended up having to change the name. But it's like, oh my gosh, and it was copyrighted. So I think that's
a big issue.
Was a big
It's good
big
advice.
learning curve.
So you
there.
have to copyright yourself, which you write it down or print it out and send it to yourself through the mail. And then you go to the trademark office and you trademark. And if you do it yourself, it's a little bit complicated, but you can do it for $350.
Yeah.
If you have somebody else do it for you, it's going to be a little bit more, maybe double that.
Yeah.
And then try to get the website going. And then also try to get your business license for wherever you're going to be doing business in at the city you're doing. So you want to get all those legality
row.
things. Yeah, for sure. And you also want to see if somebody else is already doing what you're doing, who's succeeding, and what can you learn from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Do your research, people. Do your research.
Well, like when I was doing landscape construction, when I first started out, I did like a interview of 3 other top landscape construction people to my house and asked them what they would do to see how they handled me, to see how they interacted with me.
Oh my gosh, you sneaky little devil!
And I was picking their brains, but they didn't know. They just thought they were bidding on a project.
Right.
And so I took all the information from all 3 of them and I put it together and made one solid one that covered all the bases.
You know what? That's kind of what I did with my showroom. Was like, we went and looked at a couple different showrooms, and I was like, I don't like the way that looks, or I really love the way that looks, and of course did my own thing with it, right? Because I'm not going to try to copy anybody, but that's great because it does give you a lot of insight as to what's out there and what people are seeing. So
And what's working, what's working already.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's missing.
Yeah, and what's missing.
Yes, definitely do your research. It's amazing to me what's online now. Like you can find business plans online, anything online.
Everything.
So do your research, people. Ashley, any advice for somebody that's maybe thinking about getting into the retail game, manufacturing game? Anything stand out to you that you would give
That was
a young, maybe somebody coming up and thinking?
I have a good question too, though.
Well, let
Okay.
Ashley,
Okay.
just I guess just consistency and believing in yourself. I do think you have to be your own biggest cheerleader, and you can't be scared to put your idea out there for lack of validation or celebration from other people. Sometimes you have to be your own cheerleader. You can't be scared to go out there, and sometimes people that don't know you will be your biggest supporters.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes your family members and friends are the last ones to support you.
Sometimes because they know, like, oh, you're just so and so, you're just like, in your family, but so you can't let that limit your vision of yourself.
Absolutely.
However you see yourself, put it out there to the world, because there might be a lot of people that resonate with your message that you don't even know about. Like what you guys are doing here.
Well, that's
CV
kind of
Hustle.
That's
That's
kind of
right.
the goal. That's the goal.
Okay,
the
so
goal.
I do have a question because Bobby's always talking about how, because he does payroll, right? He works with over 350 small local businesses here in our valley, and so he sees a lot of family members taking over the business,
The kids taking over,
working
yeah.
together. Like, so how does that work with you guys? Is it just always a seamless flow, or do you guys like?
Aromatherapy.
Is that the sage?
Get me too.
No,
Ooh.
really, we're lucky. We all get along pretty well. But like she said, she is a perfectionist, and she has very high standards, and she always has. And so I
Ashley's not really bothered by it because she just grew up in it.
grew up
Yeah.
with that.
And she's never been, I would say
Doesn't
that
deter me.
instead of the mother telling the kids that they're not doing something right, it's the kids telling the mother, like, Mom, you can't do that. Mom, don't say that to that woman.
I know, but that's what I love about you.
Yes, right? Yes.
So awesome. Aw.
So sometimes I'm too truthful, and I have to hold my tongue back, or I have to go behind we have a curtain from the front and the back. And as I get older, I have less patience
I
for
know the feeling.
ridiculousness. And there's a lot of ridiculousness out there. And I just have to take a deep breath and think, this could be on YouTube right now. Here's a woman that went nuts at Body Deli.
No.
She's strangling a customer.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Sales.
So
it is hard.
It's hard. And sometimes the people are rude
Well,
and
yeah.
disrespectful. And I don't like it when they're disrespectful to the employees or to my kids, my daughters. And, you know, you might have issues. Sometimes they have issues.
She's very protective.
I am very
So I tell her,
protective.
don't worry about it, Mom.
Yeah, and I just go in the back. I'll go, Ash, you're going to have to go out front because
but no,
I'm like
seriously.
this with that woman. And I don't want to do that to her. So please, Ashley will go up there. And she is the nicest person. And there was a lady just like maybe 2 weeks ago that was a horrible thing to one of our other salespeople. And then she was calling up and she was just having a terrible time. But she was having a terrible time in her life, and she was taking it out on us.
Sure.
And Ashley talked to her and told her to come in. And when she came in, Ashley gave her a hug.
Nice.
She did.
Well, it turned
and she
out
just
that
melted.
she cried. She was going through a lot.
Aww.
And one little incident happened and she just kind of festered on it.
Yeah.
And she had a hard holiday. And you never know what people are going through.
It's true.
You never know.
You don't.
So I said, let's not let this small item, be such a big issue. Let's come on in.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, come on in. Let's not
She's
worry
so
about
great
it.
with that. She's awesome with the
The
customers.
aromatherapy helps.
Yeah. That's some customer service right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Free hugs as well. Somebody listening to this maybe hasn't heard or seen your product. Where can they kind of check you guys out and kind of get more information about some of the goodies you sell here? Or
Well,
look you
definitely
guys
go
up?
to thebodydeli.com, and you're going to see an amazing website.
Amazing
Fresh
website.
food for your skin.
That's
Fresh
right.
food.
Yeah,
for
I
your
love
skin.
that. Such a great tagline. I love it. But
And we make everything's just made in small batches.
So
It's
it
made
really is
daily.
fresh.
yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
need to be.
That is remarkable. That's all made here in the Coachella Valley. So anybody buying skin products, you better get up there and support your local company.
And look at that beautiful label.
It is. It's gorgeous.
No, it's beautiful. Like I don't know what it is, but it looks beautiful.
That's an organic hand and body lotion.
That's lotion.
Absolutely.
But seriously, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate your time. I've always loved you, and we've always
Thank you.
gotten along really well. And I love your story, and I love that. I mean, you guys used to or still make this stuff behind where I started my tile business, and so it's really great that you're here, and I appreciate your time so much.
Thank you.
And you're
both.
going to have to come and see your tile. I sent you some videos, a little bit of video at the house sometime.
I'd love to. Yeah. Bruce and hey, look at this. He's awesome. I love it. Your home is beautiful.
No, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's full of Venus tile.
My
That's
house
right.
too.
Yeah. They're super loyal, so
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Thank
That's
you for your
awesome.
business too. then.
Well, thank you guys for coming in. You guys,
welcome.
Margaret, you're truly a legend here in the Coachella Valley.
Thank you.
Ashley, you're on your
Told
way to
you.
becoming one as well.
Thank you.
So
You're
thanks
learning
for
from the
coming in.
best over here.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, guys. So if you found some value today in this discussion, you know the routine. Subscribe, like, and follow, and we'll see you guys next time.